All right. So this is a video. It's my first one in a little while. Had a little bit of a personal break there. Was really good. I won't talk about it too much. I try to keep my personal life outside of this stuff, but of course everything's personal. So this is my introduction to esoteric linguistics, and that's a subject which doesn't get discussed formally very much. It was certainly something that was getting discussed in the earlier part of the 20th century, and then, well, we don't have to get into exactly what happened partway through the 20th century that caused all of that to change. Yeah, we won't talk about that, but that's okay. But yeah, so I mean, this is kind of probably a subject that you're not. I mean, no one really talks about this. It's not a term that has really any meaning for most people, because linguistics is the clear study of the history of language and so on. But that is traditional or formal linguistics, right? Is the etymology is basically what you focus on and now there's a lot more to linguistics than etymology, as any linguist will tell you. Um, and uh, and really, I mean, I have never studied linguistics. I mean, I know how to look up a word's etymology, and it's very interesting a lot of the time. But as a formal study, that isn't something that I've pursued. I kind of understand the concept of linguistics in my own personal way. And yeah, I mean, I hope this isn't offensive to anyone. This video might be a little bit of offensive, kind of stumbling on that word because I don't want to offend anyone, but I think it's important to talk about some stuff. I mean, or interesting or something, and I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people do stuff, right? And but yeah. So you probably saw that, or maybe you didn't see that, but "Why Guy" is the title of the video, and so all right, now we're getting into it here. That was the introduction, 2-minute introduction. Holy. All right. So for this video to really work, you're going to have to know the name of God. Now, we don't say that name. He doesn't like that very much. Unless you really need this, you really like, But, yeah. What we learned, or what some people learned a while ago, is you can just say the first letter of God's name. And then he doesn't really like that either, because he notices that too, actually. But you can kind of get away with that one, right? You can kind of get away with it. And so I mean, if you don't know, the first letter of God's name is Y, okay? And so that's yeah, and so that's basically it. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's kind of like, why does that happen? Why does that? Why is that? Why are you doing that? I mean, that's the answer to why, right? Is why. That's the answer. Why is the answer to why, right? So if you understood that, that's cool. I'll explain a little more. Let's see. So let's do it more like this. Why is God? Why? Why is God? God is why. God is why. Why? Why? Why is why. Why? Why? That's the first letter. I mean, it's that word, why. Where did that word come from? I mean, it's how you say the letter, right? And it's the meaning of that word. I mean, the original. I mean, this is my understanding. Is this? I mean, English is a very esoteric language. It's the most esoteric language, and the people who developed English were pretty clever, to be honest. I mean, various people developed English. We're still developing it. It's a potent language, though. And with why, it's very much like why, Do you see? And that's not something you can think about in like a super way, like what's the root of this, what's the root of that, what's the history, where was this word first used? Because the way that language develops is not really, I mean, in the verbal, right? I mean, we talk to each other, and I was going to write this. I was actually going to write this episode, but, talking is one thing, and talking, you really get it, right? So, why is why? God is why. I mean, that's just, I mean, that's right. I mean, that's, if you're into the Abrahamic faith, right? You know, so, I mean, this is kind of relevant to Abrahamic faith and kind of relevant. Ooh, I'm getting a right leg there. I asked him actually. He was kind of chatting with me a little bit there, and then when I was like, "Can I make this?" When I directly asked, like, "Can I make this video about your name and the esoteric why and all that?" He was pretty silent, and then JC was kind of more, you know, maybe I wouldn't necessarily, you know, but I was kind of, I'm not really breaking the rules, right? That's kind of how we get around it, is with the letters and stuff, and that word why, I mean, why? I mean, why? You could always ask that question, right? If there wasn't an answer to that question, I mean, you could say, it's because this happened. There's a root, you know, you find that, where do you go? You know, what caused this? What caused that? Cause and effect, you go all the way down, right? It keeps going. It's turtles all the way down, like she said, right? I mean, you keep finding causes and effects. So there's no end to it. So they figured out this word, why. I mean, it's the first letter in God's name. It's why. That's why. You know, and so that's the word, right? And that's why. And that's why shit is weird, because God's a weird guy. He's a weird guy. He's a fucking weird guy, and that's why the world's weird. Now, you know, God has a promise, right? There's a reason we come here. You know, there is. And I mean, I can explain it, but I mean, I'm not allowed to totally explain that one. I'm allowed to talk about Jesus stuff. Really, I mean, this is a secret. And I mean, whether you take me seriously or not doesn't matter. I know this video isn't that funny. Some of my other videos are more funny. But why? You know, like, why? That's heavy. And I don't think about why. I mean, no, I don't think about why. And that means two things, right? And it's kind of like when you start to understand this esoteric aspect of language and how, you know, things have deep meanings all the time. We don't know what we're saying a lot of the time. We don't know the spells we're casting a lot of the time. People are not very intentional with their language a lot of the time, you know? And so understanding this stuff, and I mean, language is a construct, right? Understand that. We invented it. We made this up. This is our force of will. This is how we do magic. You know, this is spelling, casting a spell, spelling, using the words. I mean, it's simple. Simple. Humans are magic. That's what separates us from animals. You know, that's the difference between us and animals. If you want to argue with a vegan with some wook shit, you know, or whatever. But you don't want to kill a magic user, you know, but that's killing people is, I mean, you know, I mean, personally, like, killing someone is punishment of itself. You shouldn't kill anyone. That's really bad. I would rather be killed than to kill probably anyone, almost, you know. Yeah, I mean, I was going to make a joke about who I'd kill, but I wouldn't kill anyone. I would never kill anyone. Like, that's heavy as fuck, you know. It is. And why? Because, I mean, we're all God's chosen children, right? We got selected, you know. We got, like, to be human is a huge honor. It's a huge privilege and honor, and it is incredibly challenging. It is incredibly challenging, and no one should ever deny that for a second. No one should ever tell anyone this is easy. Don't ever say it's easy. It's not easy. It's not. But it's cool. It's actually pretty cool. And, you know, if you, I mean, I don't know. My personal opinion, okay, I mean, this is going to be kind of harsh, but God is slacking on his picks a little bit. Okay, I mean, no offense. He's just very open to everyone, and basically he's a salesman. I mean, if you want to pay the toll, if you want to pay to come, I mean, you can come to the show, right? That's the thing about Earth, why it's so popular, right? Because most heavens, you know, you can't really get into that easily, right? And we're kind of getting too many, like, weirdo gods here, and it's kind of getting less heavenly, if you know what I mean. Because it's kind of like, you know, open ticket heaven. I mean, it gets funky. You know what I'm saying? It gets funky. And because you get too many weirdos hanging out, it's like a party that everyone knows about. I'm going to hang out on Earth for 1,000 years, though. I'm going to do a myriad, personally. Now, we don't have to talk about me. I don't matter that much, right? I mean, I'm more like Spectral, you know, it doesn't matter. I get 50 views, it doesn't matter, right? But I am telling you the truth. This is a big party, and you are not what you think you are, unless you're aware that you're, you know. So, like, we got given this body, right? We get it for 80 years or whatever, right? And that's a gift, for sure. It's a heavy gift. It's a very heavy gift. It's a very fucked up, heavy gift, personally, I think. But hey, I mean, we accepted it. We accepted the gift. I mean, wise guy, why, wise guy, why guy, why guy, why guy? God is why guy. God is why guy. Seriously.